Detective Comics 1045. This is Mariko Tamaki and Dan Mora. It is the final part of the Fear State tie-in arc.
Yeah.
Which largely revolves around the idea that Nakano's going to at least start kind of trusting Batman, or at least accept that Batman's presence is required.
Man, so I wish I was reading tech before, because it feels like that's where this Nakano story comes from, right? About the partner, and that's why he doesn't trust Batman, because he feels Batman's responsible for the death of his partner. And I like that. And I just feel like it's kind of gotten lost in all of the crossover-y aspects of Gotham, right? You know, from Joker War to Fear State. So I do like that's what Tamaki kind of focuses on with the relationship of Nakano and Batman here. And that there is a trust because Batman saved Nakano, and then towards the end here, Nakano gets to save Batman. I just feel like it's not a buddy cop situation exactly, but they have a tenuous relationship going forward, and I like that.
Yeah, it's a bit too imbalanced to be buddy cop, but I think it's a nice sweet sentiment to kind of end this sub story on, because it feels like Batman's relationship with Nakano has been more of a focus of detective, even though obviously it's been a factor in Batman as well. So having that kind of be what this tie-in gets to wrap up, it feels like it's still true to its own series as much as it is. If anything, it's more true to its own series than a tie-in. If at one point there's a caption that says this story takes place around Batman 113, which was not, that was like 3 or 4 issues ago, so they're making it clear all of this took place early on in Fear State. This is not
concurrent.
So and it pulls in the Bat family a little bit. They Cass, Stick, and Babs is on the comms. I will say there's one panel of Babs where they're doing the whole the green glow of the computer screen on her, but she just looks like Poison Ivy because it's so strong.
I didn't hate it. I'm gonna be real.
But it's fine to kind of pull them into it a little bit. Basically, these parasites, the eggs are hatching all over the city and starting to grab people on their bikes. And
the guy on the bike, I feel so bad. He got overwhelmed by a wave of vile larvae.
Yeah, and there's walls of it in the tunnels, and they're having to break out. And Nakano's demand to know what Batman knows about it. And Batman's actually pretty honest. He was infected before, and that's why he knows. He tells him about Hugh Vile. He tells him about all these things. And Batwoman's up doing stuff as well. But basically, they get up into the city, and it's basically the Times Square, if you will, of Gotham that they're in when they come up through the sewers. And it's all very chaotic. The monster... And the monsters kind of form one big monster here, and Batman's kind of getting chewed up a little bit, and he's trying to fight them off. And this is where Nakano gets to, well, at least tries to save him. It doesn't work though. He pulls out a taser, thinking, "Oh, he electrocuted the parasite off of me, so I will taser this big monster."
Yep.
Oh shit! It barely felt anything because it needs a giant shock.
It needs more amps, as Nightwing tells him.
Yeah, because Nightwing shows up. He's stolen one of the magistrates' flying little orbs, and starts blasting it with electricity, which kind of saves the day. And yeah, I mean, ultimately, there's a great full page spread actually of Batman, just in the city sky at night, with it's like the setting sun behind him, I think. But yeah, at the end of the story is just Nakano is talking to whoever. He's trying to figure out, because now he knows the magistrates kind of played against them and what they've been up to,
right? And
basically just says we need to start making a better list of monsters to go after, because what he's learned with this trip with Batman is that there's monsters in the city that he hadn't. He kind of put everything on Batman and mass vigilantes, and he didn't really realize that there was so much other stuff going on in Gotham. And Batman kind of explains, look, there's basically something going on in Gotham all the time, right? It's difficult to keep it on top of it. So it feels like we've got a Nakano that's a bit more accepting. He even says at one point the office. He doesn't say who it is, but he says they've got an associate that he's corresponding with or something like that. Which establishes that Batman could probably give him some info now and maybe get info in exchange for certain things.
Which I like, because we've always had it just with Gordon, right? And sometimes Gordon and the mayor are at odds with Batman, but I like that it's Nakano here going like, all right, well, we can't be everywhere at once, so it's kind of nice that Batman has his people too, and you just got to kind of trust that he does have Gotham in his heart. You know what I mean? Like he's not going to screw Nakano over just because Nakano doesn't like him.
Yeah,
because it's for the greater good. And I feel like Tamaki really nailed that sentiment there towards the end.
Yeah, I think it's probably the best ending I could have asked for out of this little tie-in arc, and we do have at least the big 10-week story. I think we've got a couple of we've got an issue or two before that, but then we have the big 10-week story.
Well, it kicks off next week in the detective annual, because I double checked.
It doesn't start off weekly next week though.
No, but that story starts next week.
Sure, yeah, but it doesn't go weekly until like January though. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So so we'll have one issue in December, and then it'll start properly in January.
I guess it doesn't start. It says Prelude to Shadow of the Bat, because I read the, because I want to see what we're next week.
So it's building up like the next issue of Detective probably is as well.
Yeah.
So I just what I was getting to though is I wonder if we're going to play with Batman's new kind of relationship with Nakano being a factor in the rest of this run, because given that it's something that Tamaki's went out of her way to set up, it feels like the sort of thing we probably will use as a narrative tool. So neat enjoyable issue. Back up as well, we had the foreman at the new Arkham Tower going crazy. Batman steps in at the end of the last part, so he's here at the start of this one, and basically just takes the guy down and makes sure he can't hurt anyone, and goes snooping around the rest of the tower and finds like a gas trap that's like crane toxin almost. It goes looking. He ends up having like a weird flashback where he sees his parents and he's seeing like the Joker talk to him in a cell.
Yeah, Martha opening up that door as she says "go to bed" was so creepy. Like that was such an effective moment.
Yeah. It's interesting stuff. It really sort of it just shows you that his mental state is deteriorating in the scene. But then there's this old guy who's like, this tower's unnatural, it needs to be taken down, and this is sort of Batman's coming out of it, and the rain's pouring. So there's a lot of. I think what I really liked about that first part, and it's true again here, is that there's so much atmosphere and everything it's doing. It really feels like he's out in like a stormy night up in this like construction tower, and he's chasing this guy up the tower. And the end of this part of it is that Harley Quinn is sitting in the crane, operating booth, and is like, so she's here to also help take down the tower or something. It's not entirely clear at this point, but
yeah, I love that she's like, you probably thinking that I'm not here. But yeah, that's the beauty of this, is you don't know if I am or not. So let's take out this tower. So I do kind of like that. So even if it is part of the toxin, right, and it's not actually Harley, this is how Bruce thinks of her, right? Like, is she here? Is she not here? It's a fun little piece.
I mean,
that's pretty good.
Does the old guy see her, or is the old guy also just in his head? Like,
right? I don't know. I would be willing to bet the old guy is there just because of what we're establishing in the story about Arkham being cursed, right? Just the whole name and whatnot. And also the fact that this was Hugo Strange's building beforehand, might lend something into that. I'm not sure what exactly. So,
yeah.
It's
obviously
pretty decent.
I mean, this is setting stuff up for future detective stuff, so that's cool. A lot of atmosphere, which is nice, and the art is pretty good. Not as good as the main story, but definitely enjoying it. So it's nice. What are you giving the two stories?
So I'll give it a solid 8 across the board.
Yeah, well, I guess I kind of agree with that. I like the final point that he had, the Kano and Batman sort of get to in this, and it doesn't. I mean, I definitely think this is one of the weaker arcs of Tamaki's run, but like for a crossover, it actually has a nice little point to end on. It still feels super relevant for where her own story is going with the city and Batman and the Bat family. So that's nice.
I feel like the Vile stuff really ramped up, and then this feels like the epilogue towards it. Because how many issues was this? 2 or 3?
3, yeah.
The Vile larva, trying to escape and come back. So it does feel like a nice little epilogue on that main story.